How you doing, people? Welcome back to another ESO video. Today is about the Nightblade and its current changes on the public test server for update 41. Now, while these may or may not go live, this is where we are at the moment as far as testing is concerned to try and make things a little bit easier for those of you that use the Nightblade. A couple of things have been altered for the sake of balance, other things more, again, ease of use. So what they've done is they've altered specifically 4 individual skills. That one can't be taken off the board. We'll ignore that one. But these 3 here, which is Veiled Strike, Cripple, and Siphon Strikes, alongside the ultimate. So 3 skills and an ultimate. Now, Incapacitate and Strike is a morph of the original ultimate, but the other one was not affected. So we're going to go over these in order and show you what they've actually done with them. Now, Veiled Strike, first of all, is in the Shadow skill line. First ability to unlock starts off as Veiled Strike, and it can morph to either Surprise Attack or Concealed Weapon. Now, Surprise Attack technically hasn't been changed, but it has gotten stronger by default based on the way that the status effects have been changed. All status effects have been altered in either strength or easier to apply bonuses, and they've focused on making all damage types exactly the same, but their status effect is what separates them. It's been going on for a long time, but now it's kind of really hitting home, especially as far as some of the unique abilities or sets are concerned that guarantee status. Now, this applies Sunder, which does apply Minor Breach, which will remove 2974, I think, resistances from the target. That means it's basically a debuff, which is quite nice. Maintaining that is quite difficult, obviously, because you've got to have high status chance, but it can happen. Doing physical damage is the way to apply it. This skill guarantees it, as it did before, but it now does extra damage. Sunder now does extra damage when it lands. So while the skill hasn't been affected, the extra damage from the Sundered status as it hits will actually impact you quite a lot. Also, applying Sunder gives the user 100 weapon and spell damage. So that's a nice change. That skill didn't technically change, but the effect of it did. However, this did change. Now, this particular skill was changed. Before, you had to apply it, you had to mess with loads of different positioning tactics and techniques, and you also had to mess with sneak, invisibility, all that kind of stuff. So flanking and sneaking would give you a benefit. You would benefit from Major Berserk in the past, which you had to maintain once every 10 seconds or so to try and keep that buff active so your rotations were stronger. That's no longer the case. Now, this has been buffed flat by 10% overall. So the actual skill now hits as though you had the full uptime of that buff. But you don't have the buff, which means you've got an increased damage skill, feels like it did before, less complex, and you can take Major Berserk on top. So if you get Major Berserk from your group, i.e. take synergy from a Storm Atro, from a Sorcerer, then you can not only have the strength you had before, but gain more. Before, they wouldn't stack, obviously, because the 2 bonuses that are the same. Now you can get the bonus because you don't already have it. Also, when you leave Sneak or Invisibility in combat, you will actually get a 10% increase to this ability on top of what it's already got for a further 15 seconds. So technically, if you jump out of stealth, or you can actively just hide, hit, hide, hit, and take advantage of that, then you can get a really powerful benefit from this. One more thing, while slotted on either bar. So if you just put this on the back bar and never use it, you will always have Minor Expedition, so you're fast. More damage up front, can now stack with Major Berserk rather than supplying it yourself, and being stealthy benefits. Really handy changes there, both for status for this one, giving you extra weapon and spell damage, and the debuff and more damage. This one for just being flat out more OP. Now, the other 2 abilities, before we get to the ultimate, is Cripple. Cripple hasn't been changed specifically, but the morph of Debilitate has. Debilitate used to apply guaranteed status to Overcharge, which is a status effect from magic damage. Remember, every damage type is the same damage, it just has a different effect. This used to do it every tick. So every single time this did damage over a 20-second period, it would guarantee Overcharge. Now, Overcharge does still work technically as it did before. You do damage up front, which was small, and you put minor magic still on the target, which means people hitting it get magic back. Well, at the same time now, Overcharged has changed, which will actually give you back a small amount of magicka every time you fire it, as well as firing minor magic still, as well as increased damage. Now, the increased damage is significant. This does change it a little bit. With the fact that it does so much extra damage, having it as guaranteed per tick would have made this skill way too strong and would have made it the obvious choice out of the two rather than deciding which one you have for the situation. So they elevated the damage of Overcharged, they give you more magic back, and now this applies at high chance, so you have quadruple the amount of chance to apply it outside of the normal status chance for the skill type, but it's no longer guaranteed. However, if you build for charge and all this type of stuff, it can pretty much happen all the time. Very powerful. This is the big one. Siphon Strikes has been one of those painful skills that people love to use, but also hate to use because they have to maintain it so much. This is one of those skills where you activate it, it lasts 20 seconds, and depending on which morph you take, depends on which resource it gives you back for light and heavy attack weaving. Then, if you leave it running its full duration, you claim a big pot of resources. Or if you activate it too early, you claim the amount of resources it's stacked up. It's quite a complicated skill. It's easy once you've got used to it, but to start with it doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, this has been changed. So this particular version, it costs you 4k health. You get back 2k magicka and stamina. Both at the same time. Both resources. But while slotted on either bar, you will actually heal for all damage done. However, that's once a second. So basically it's your crit surge, but you don't need to crit. You just need to do some damage. The two morphs are quite different though. This one still costs 4k health to activate, but if you do so, you'll get back 2k magicka and stamina. However, you don't have to activate the skill unless you want the resources back. If you just have it slotted, you will heal, but you'll heal more. And then if you want to risk losing health in order to get back resources, the longer this runs, the longer you heal, the more stacks you gain. Up to 10, which will make the next cast of it free. Now, technically speaking, obviously, if you butt in there halfway through, it will just be cheaper, but it can actually be free. So all damage you deal heals you and reduces the cost of your next leeching strikes. The other one, however, gives you back more resources. It doesn't heal you more, but it gives you back more resources. So activating it gives you 2.6k magicka and stamina back instantly, and heals you for all the damage you do all the time just for being slotted, and you get back 200 magicka and stamina every second that you get healed. So let's see how this actually works, shall we? All I'm going to do is go up to a target dummy. As you can see, regardless of which bar I'm on, look at my buff timers, bottom left-hand side, the hand with the red background. Stays with me all the time. Either bar. Now, we'll use a dummy that hasn't got loads of buffs on it, because otherwise that will show loads of stuff you don't want to see. Now, as you can see here, this costs me health. But if I do damage once a second, and yes, it can crit, this will eventually cost less if you have the morph. If not, it will be the same all the time. You constantly get resources back. So all you need to do is hit. You don't have to actually activate the skill. You just need to hit stuff while in combat. Even a bash will heal you. Let's change the morph, show you the difference. Now, all you need to do here is heal. You don't need to activate the skill. You just need to heal. If you heal 10 times, once a second, you can claim back resources for no cost. Or if you have less than 10 seconds worth, you can still claim it back, but at cheaper cost. You can do this. You can do this. Doesn't matter what damage you do. Even a dot. Leave a dot running. You heal all the time. Built-in crit surge without needing to crit, and it can crit heal. But if you build up to 10, free resources. Again, you can spam this to get resources back very easily, and then obviously just heal by doing damage. It's quite easy to do. You can actually spam the skill and just stay up forever. But the more heals you take and the longer it takes for you to try to gain resources back, like Dark Deal, the less it costs. Again, the two variants are one, bigger heals. The other one gives you resources back at the same time. 200 back per second, by the way. Magicka and stamina is the equivalent of 400 recovery on its own. Recovery is calculated every 2 seconds. So if you're sitting on 1.2k recovery at the moment, you're effectively sitting on 1.6. If you're sitting on 2k, you're sitting on 2.4. You get the idea. So, The final one, the ultimate. The ultimate has changed. Incapacitating Strike now lasts longer depending on how much ulti you have. If you have the correct amount that you need, which is around 70, depending on your class or race even, because you can alter that. If you have that version available and you activate it, this will last 8 seconds. But if you have 120 ultimate, it will last 12. 12 seconds of increased 20% damage on target is huge. Also bear in mind, this is disease damage. Disease has been changed. Disease no longer applies a small amount of damage and a minor debuff. Disease applies a larger amount of damage and a minor debuff and area of effect. So disease before used to be a small amount with minor defile, which reduces the healing received and healing recovery of the target. That has been changed so that it now provides a healing received and damage shield reduction. Minor defile from a disease status effect, if you're lucky enough to apply it, will now hit the target for 88% more than it used to. It will apply minor defile, which is now 6% reduction to healing received and damage shield strength. And disease applying its damage initially will splash to all surrounding targets. And with them being hit with that disease status, with them being hit with that extra inflated damage in area of effect, that also applies minor defile to them too. So if you do hit with disease damage, the room is debuffed. It's pretty nasty. But basically, you just need to make sure you've got 120 ultimate. You do the wicked flip, and it lasts longer. As you can see, all of those got hit there. All of them. So we'll do that one more time. Build up the ulti just so you can see. It's a single target boost to damage for that particular individual that you are hitting, but the splash will hit all. As you can see here, that didn't apply a status effect. RIP. It can though, and it is chance based. Bear in mind this character has not got any status bonuses at all, doesn't even have champion points in. But if you're lucky, you can hit the whole room. Of course my luck isn't going to be here today, we're demonstrating. We'll do one more, best of 3. Typical that the first demonstration actually did it. There you go. All affected. Now, technically speaking, out of 4 casts, we made that happen twice. Inflate your status chance. Make that happen more often. It's ridiculous. So, hopefully that helps you understand what has gone on with the Nightblade. Veiled Strike now hits much, much harder if you have the Concealed Weapon morph. Debilitate now is the same as it was before, but can dramatically elevate if you have high status chance. Not Shadow Cloak. Leech and Strikes is 10 times easier to use and so much better for everyone. You don't have to micromanage anything. You can just spam it and watch your health, or you can just heal all day long for nothing. You don't even have to activate it. And of course, Incapacitate and Strike now allows you much more uptime on that huge amount of damage that you get from the Nightblade, depending on how you set yourself up. So let me know what you think. Use the comment section to your advantage. Tell me if you like it. Tell me if you hate it. Tell me if you tried it. Tell me if you haven't. This is on public test server testing right now, so it's not live yet. But if it stays as it is, that's what you can look forward to with the upcoming patch for Update 41. Thank you very much for watching. Hugely appreciate support. And if you're not subscribing, obviously hit the button. It's free. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.